sit back and relax because on this edition of the Paw Report, we're going to do a little workout, or at least watch one, and it's extremely entertaining and rather unique. Coming up, we'll sit in on a goat yoga class and hear much more on some fun activities hosted by the Charleston Parks and Recreation Department. So stay with us.
Fetcher's Pet Supply on the north side of the Charleston Square, serving the EIU community since 1991. Fetcher's welcomes all pets on a leash, is open 7 days a week, and offers made in the USA food. Pet supplies for dogs, cats, reptiles, and fish. Fetcher's Pet Supply in Charleston.
The Paw Report on WEIU is supported by Rural King, America's farm and home store, livestock feed, farm equipment, pet supplies, and more. You can find your store and more information regarding Rural King at ruralking.com.
Dave's Decorating Center is a proud supporter of the Paw Report on WEIU. Dave's Decorating Center features the Mohawk Smart Strand Silk Forever Clean Carpet. Dave's Decorating Center, authorized Mohawk Color Center in Charleston.
Thanks for joining us, and I'm telling you, we have an exciting Paw Report edition today. I'm your host, Kelly Goodwin, and I have two special guests joining us today. We are joined by Megan Henness with the Charleston Park and Rec Department, and we have Linda Ross, who is a physical therapist. Now, you may say, wait a minute, what are you doing an episode with the Park and Rec person and a physical therapist? Well, they're going to tell you because the Park and Rec Department in Charleston has started an exciting class this summer. That's when we're recording, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Goat yoga. So everybody laugh. That's right. It's a fun one. So Megan and Linda, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Again, goat yoga. So Linda, we're going to get to you because you're the expert. I'm going to start with Megan, though, first. You're part of the Charleston Park and Rec Department. You got a big job on your plate this summer and all year long. Why don't you tell us about you and your position at the park?
Yeah, my name's Megan Henness. I grew up in Windsor, Illinois, and I attended Eastern Illinois University, graduating in 2015. I have to think about it for just a sec. And with that, I studied recreation administration. I was fortunate enough to work in a park district up north. And came back down to this area with my husband, who works out at Sarah Bush. So we're excited to be back in the area. And I've had the pleasure of starting at the Charleston Parks and Rec Department with the city of Charleston, which is really exciting, and just kind of hit the ground running and loving what I do. I supervise day camp, after school club, taekwondo, an affiliate dog club, more classes with like kids involved, preschool classes, all that kind of stuff, and then goat yoga.
What don't you do is what I'm about ready to ask.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, you know, managing swim lessons, all that kind of fun stuff. So it's kind of fun to kind of do something different every day in my job.
Yeah, and as your job as rec director at Charleston Parks, you have to come up with a lot of different activities, plan a lot of different things, not just for kids, but for the community. So is that a big part of your job? You have to be creative with a lot of things, and that's kind of going to launch us into our main topic today.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, a lot of my job is being creative, staying on trends with what's going on in the area and in the industry of Parks and Rec, and kind of being on the fly and thinking of what can I do that's out of the box that's going to get people's attention. Maybe that's a mom-son date night. Maybe that's a family dance. Maybe that's goat yoga. You know, maybe it's a trip that we take to Nashville or something like that. So just kind of thinking out of the box and always being creative and staying on the trends is important.
Speaking of trends, in doing your research on different activities that you could bring to the community, you came across goat yoga. I want to know how this idea began, what you thought about it, how you approached city officials about, hey, let's start a class like this, and then we can bring Linda into the discussion because she's a very important part of this.
Wouldn't be possible for sure. Yeah, so goat yoga kind of, I mean, it's something that's been going on and being done in multiple states all across the United States. It's a trend. I recently opened up a Park and Rec magazine to find a goat yoga article that it's a top trending activity in Parks and Rec. which is really cool, but how did I stumble upon it? So obviously you stay in trends, you think, well, okay, is that gonna work in Charleston though? Like, are people gonna wanna sign up, for that class? I got to talking with one of my coworkers who had just been on vacation, and she had started talking about goats. She'd been to a goat farm, she got some goat products, and she's like, you should do goat yoga. Have you ever heard of goat yoga? And she showed me a video, and I was like, that looks really cool. Do you think, what do you think? You think we could do that? And she's like, yeah, you should try it. And so I was like, okay. So I started to think, and I thought, who do I know that has goats? And where am I gonna, how's this gonna work? And so I got connected with Rachel from Harvest Moon Farm. She's works at the PTA with the Carl Sandburg School. And so I see her a lot since I'm at After School Club. And I learned that she had goats. And so you just kind of file that, you're like, okay, there's a goat person. And I'm like, how am I gonna find a yoga person that's gonna be willing to take this on? This is totally crazy. Who's going to want to do this? And got connected through my husband, through Sarah Bush. Linda works out there as a physical therapist as well. And so I was able to kind of merge those together. And I went to my director, Brian Jones, and I said, hey, what do you think about this? And he's like, maybe that
Gives
might
you the look like,
yeah,
oh, really, Megan?
Yeah. And then he was like, I think this might be something. This could potentially be a cool thing. And I was like, well, I hope people sign up. What's the harm in just putting it out there? So next was finding a place, and I think Lynn and I both probably wanted, anyone that was involved wanted it to be a relaxing, kind of environment for the participants and the goats, something natural, so it would work for everyone and all experience levels. So we stumbled upon, obviously, a perfect, picturesque place, Lincoln Log Cabin. We found this nice little place that's underneath some shade and kind of has some trees that are around it. It kind of almost makes a pin in a sense, and we set up our pin there and do Lincoln Log goat yoga with the Charleston Parks and Rec. So that's kind of how it all came about. And I liked calling people and asking them questions about it. I called Chicago, somebody in Chicago, just to learn about it, because it's all about researching what the program is about and how you can best serve. Because you think about goats with horns. What are you going to do with the goats with a horn? And they're, you try to, yeah, these goats don't have horns, but you would wrap them in pool noodles. So you have to think of all aspects, and what do you do about cleanups, and what do you do about, goats if they jump on you, and all those kinds of things. So you want to explore all avenues of a program whenever you're thinking of starting something new. I also called a place in Texas, and that was doing goat yoga, and just kind of asked them some questions. Wanted to make sure that we were setting us up for success within the program and making sure that it was a good fit for us. And so then we just kind of put it in the guide and launched it and put it on Facebook, and it just took off
and
for us.
away you went.
Yeah, it just kind of worked.
Well, you called Linda, and I'm sure Linda picked up the phone and was like, huh?
Yeah, you get a few laughs sometimes. People are like, what? Goat yoga?
Linda, what did you think?
Well,
I was a yoga instructor.
I was primed for this opportunity because after talking to her husband at work, he's mentioned that Megan was going to be doing some goat yoga, and I said, well, I would love to teach a goat yoga class, and I was very pleased to have the opportunity to be the goat yoga instructor.
You were so energized. I mean, what is it? What do you go through as an instructor? And I guess, is it any differently when you throw the little four-legged friends in the arena with you?
It's a very pleasant distraction, which can't help bring a smile to everyone's face. And yoga just in itself has so many benefits. I've been a physical therapist for over 20 years and became a certified yoga instructor 2 years ago because it was just such a natural shoe-in for PT and yoga to go together. But there's so many yoga benefits, like building strength and flexibility, and improving your posture, improving your core strength, releasing all those feel-good hormones like dopamine and serotonin, building a positive body image. But then you throw the goats into the mix, and you can't help but be happy and energized and in a good mood. If someone is feeling depressed or anxious, a goat will definitely take that away.
On the day that we filmed, and I had the pleasure of coming out and capturing some pictures, there was a little kid there, not kid, but a little kid, days old, running around the pen, and the people were just smiling and laughing and having a fabulous time. So as you said, it is soothing. I want for the both of you to take us to the class. and kind of share with us start to finish how it goes, who is welcome, what you have to bring. That was the first yoga class that I had ever attended, and obviously it was a little bit different. But for those out there watching, thinking, you know, and as you said, people were kind of like, do you think anybody would take this class? I can tell you they do take this class, because at the class I attended, it was packed with people.
Yeah, for sure. So in order to register for any type of goat yoga class, you want to sign up either online or in person at the Charleston Park and Rec office on 520 Jackson. It's open from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So you sign up, and then once you're signed up, you arrive to Lincoln Log Cabin for, hopefully, you know, as long as there's no rain involved, you arrive there at Lincoln Log Cabin for your goat yoga experience. And it's really fun watching people roll up. Sometimes cars will get there super, super early as they're waiting. They're anxiously awaiting the goats. They like to watch the goats come into the pen. Everyone kind of lines up and you check them off the list, and they come in and they're just instantly filled with happiness.
They are.
Yeah, it's just like, it just releases. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to touch one, and like, oh, they're so cute. And it's just really fun to see that interaction with people, and they're kind of building that moment up for them. And then they come in and they kind of set their beach towel down or their mat. You know, you don't have to have a certified yoga mat to do it. You can have a beach towel. You want to bring some water. Always bring your cell phone so you can take pictures for Instagram, right?
That's right.
And so then they start the class. We allow like a 15-minute greeting time, is what we call it, greeting with the goats, where you can kind of take pictures and pet them and get your stuff all settled up as people are kind of, you know, filing in and getting all situated. And then we start the 45 minutes of instruction with the yoga and the goats. And the class is just a real, like, it's peaceful, like, even if you're not participating. And it's therapeutic just to be involved. We have some yoga helpers, as I call them, goat yoga helpers, that walk around with cups of feed and animal crackers, which, fun fact, goats like to snack on animal crackers. Who would have thought, right? So you mix it with a little bit of their feed, and it makes for a nice trail mix for the goats. And have some cups out for if people want to feed them and kind of get that closer experience. If they don't want to do that, then that's fine. You're not required to. These goats aren't pygmy goats, which sometimes if you Google, I guess, or YouTube goat yoga, you would see a pygmy goat, which is like a little goat that's going to just hop all over you and kind of be a little rambunctious. These goats are friendly and loving and kind of calming in a sense. So they kind of add to that element of where we're at in the whole yoga experience. And we have helpers that go around and kind of shoo the goats, because they are pack animals, so they do kind of like to herd animals, I guess. They do like to congregate in a corner of the pen sometimes. You do kind of have to get them to move a little bit, so that's kind of my role. And then my favorite part of the class is when I pick up one of the tiniest goats, and some people really want a goat on their back. It's something I learned. I was like, what? You want a goat on your back? And so Linda perfectly times the yoga poses and so that we can make that experience happen. And I go around to each person, you know, with the tiniest goat, and I say, would you like a goat on your back? Aww. And there's usually 99% of people will be like, yes, absolutely, please. And then they're like having their friends take their picture, and they're cuddling with them, and sometimes the goat will give a little nibble on a girl's hair, and they'll just like chill there, like they were like just meant to rest on backs. It's pretty cute.
Did you two coordinate? I mean, did you get together and meet and maybe practice or talk about the class prior to launching the first one, I guess, so that you could be familiar with?
We did have one trial run. It was a cold, wet day, so we had a trial run at the Charleston Fairgrounds under a covered building for a trial run.
How did that go?
And it was a big success.
The classes have been a big success. Talk about how many people have been in the class, and do you have everyone from the novice to the experience that come out, and is there any age requirements to be a part of this?
Well, there's room for 25 people in each class, and so far each class has been sold out.
Oh my goodness.
So the age requirement was 14 or above, and anyone can come to the class. A lot of people that have been coming to the classes have never done yoga before, but they were intrigued because of the goat yoga. So no experience is necessary. I walk them through a basic series of beginner, intermediate yoga poses, which can be modified to their abilities. And with goat yoga, I tried to do more poses where we're more earthbound and on the ground so people can interact more with the goats, because if you're in tabletop and bird dog, and they can reach out and pet the little baby goat, and they just love that. And with goats, they really don't have any personal space, not like a dog, where a dog needs to warm up to an owner. The goats are just curious, and they will crawl under you, around you, nibble, and they're just a lovable animal that is just so curious and friendly. And then the cute sounds that they make, you can't help but fall in love with their cute sounds.
You just seem to love it, and I can't imagine. Probably some instructors might think that they might be a little bit of a burden as opposed to being something that's warm and comforting. Right. You love it.
I love it.
I mean, you just
they're a little distracting, but it's a good distraction. Some people may just have to take a break just to hold the little goat on their lap for a while before getting back in to join us with the next pose.
Now, you mentioned, Megan, the class that I filmed, we did take it to the Coles County Fairgrounds. So sometimes you do take the class on the road to some different locations, and that seemed to work out really good too.
Yeah, and those situations usually happen whenever weather is related to like making the ground too soft. Goats can get, I learned through Rachel, she's taught me a lot about goats, from animal crackers to the fact that you don't want their hooves to be really wet. They can get some kind of illness, I think. They can get kind of like an infection almost on their hooves. There's a specific name of it, but of course I don't know that off the top of my head. But they can kind of get something that would cause some damage to them. And these are prized goats. These are goats that I think Rachel's family from Harvest Moon Farms, they take a lot of really good care of. They take pride in their goats. They show the goats, and they bottle feed the goats, which I think adds that extra element of why they're so friendly. So they just kind of love them like you would your dog or your cat at home, for anybody else that has those type of pets at home. But yeah, we have been fortunate enough with Rachel's partnership with the Coles County Fairgrounds that we are able to move them to another location that we aren't disappointing anybody, which is, I would hate to do that, right, so that we can move it inside a covered shelter. And it works perfect because they're show rings, so it's like the perfect size for the size of people that we need in the class, and there's gates already set up. It's sometimes a little bit of an easier setup when you take it to the fairgrounds, but we like both places, and it's really nice to see that the community has embraced it, and their support from Lincoln Log to the Coles County Fairgrounds. That's really important to any program success.
I'd like to hear from both of you, given you've, at the time that we're recording our interview today, you've had two classes, correct? Two sessions. Memories, most memorable, things that have made you laugh, whether it was with a participant or a goat, or just a memorable story that when people ask you about this class, this is one thing that you like to share. Linda, I'll start with you. I know I put you on the spot, but
the most memorable was our last session, when a little 5-day-old baby goat, Black Betty, joined us, and she was still just getting her legs, so she was trying to keep up with the big goats, but would kind of go down on her haunches at some point and was just stealing the show. Everybody had to hold Black Betty, and everybody wanted to be close to Black Betty.
To make them feel good.
So,
Megan.
Yeah, I would definitely say that Black Betty making her grand appearance at the last session was definitely one to remember for sure. But we've had some participants that have come from a really long way to participate in our class, which I think is kind of cool. So we have, on our upcoming session, I know that we have, we have somebody who's coming, visiting family friends, and then they're just like, might as well do this while I'm in town. And we've had somebody who was given the gift for Mother's Day goat yoga class.
That's excellent.
Yeah, and they came from 2 hours away from down near St. Louis, which I thought, well, that's really awesome. So she was really looking forward to the class. We've had an international student from India who participated in our trial class who was like, this is so cool. They use goats in their culture in a different way, so it was a different experience for him, and I thought that was really neat. And just seeing, there's a young girl that came right on the age of maybe 10 or 12. She came and she was holding a goat, and she was just peaceful and calm as can be. and just seeing people's smiles, whether they are 18 or 64, it's for everybody, and having them all just kind of be happy when they leave. No one's left with a sour face. They've all been like, this was so fun, I'm going to come again.
I think, Linda, that makes you happy too. I mean, as
It
the
does.
instructor of the class and kind of leading everyone, I'd have to say that what Megan just said, the smiles, the happiness, I think you leave saying I had a successful class when that happens.
Absolutely, and I'm so looking forward to teaching more goat yoga classes and possibly in other communities. Just need to hook up with the goat owners and make it happen.
Now, you're talking about, because of the popularity of this class and everything that the two of you have done, that this might not be just a 4-class stint, that this is something that, your boss, who was a little leery at first, thinking if this would happen, came back to you and said, are you going to do more goat yogas this winter? Is that true? I mean, this may be something that you continue.
Yeah, it might be something if we could it's all about lining up those right puzzle pieces, but for the winter time, because you'd have to bring the goats inside, so that adds a whole another element of kind of planning, I guess you could say. But yeah, we plan on, continuing to bring this to the community for as many times as they want. As far as I'm concerned, we could continue to run it every summer and fall season. That would work. We have plans to run it next in 2020. So hopefully that it will still have that same good appeal to everybody as they register and they're excited for it. So we hope to continue with that.
Well, let's give the Parks Department another little plug, since this is a pet show.
Yeah.
The Parks Department does some other things to attract the pet lovers in all of us. Other things, other activities that the department does that incorporates our four-legged friends?
Yeah, I think everyone's a little bit happier when you have some four-legged friends involved, whether they're big or small, and including adults to kids. They love them all, right? So
That's
everybody
right.
loves animals. So one new program that we started last April around Easter time was our dog Easter egg hunt, which was really cool. So again, kind of like all good ideas, they're usually stolen from somebody else and then transported into your community for Parks and Rec. So I'd heard about it from another agency and thought, wow, this would be really fun. I wonder if we could do this right after the kids, and it took off. I mean, there was over 50 dogs and owners registered for the dog Easter egg hunt, which was really fun. And that was a difficult concept to kind of explain if you've never heard of it, right? What does that even look like?
How do you even do it?
Yeah, so we had a lot of community sponsors, from Fetchers to DeBur's Feed and Seed, Rural King, which was really awesome that they helped us furnish treats inside of Easter eggs. So obviously it would be really cute if a dog picked up an Easter egg and put it in a basket, but it didn't always happen that way. So a lot of it is the owners picking them up and putting them in the basket, but do 2 different, weight classes, because for dogs you don't want a little Chihuahua next to a Great Dane or something like that. So dividing them up into those 2 classes and starting 2 different Easter egg hunts, and then having them kind of go out to the field and pick up the Easter egg hunts, and then there was golden eggs that had little prizes in them. Maybe it was an extra treat bag or something that was donated from a sponsor, maybe a Frisbee or a ball. So that was kind of cool. So that was something new. And it was just the same kind of element with the goat yoga. People just left like, this was so cool. Are you going to do this again? So hopefully we'll continue to bring that to the community as well in 2020 for April. So yeah, we're excited for that. And we also do, I supervise an affiliate dog group, Charleston Area Dog Club, that's under the Parks and Rec Department. So they have dog training classes that are held at the old putt and swing, I guess used to be, for some folks that know where that is. They're by the Charleston Rotary Pool, right there. I think that's off 18th Street.
Sure is.
And so we have dog training classes there. We have agility classes, puppy kindergarten, canine good citizen. They have some dog therapy training courses if your dog was interested owner was interested in doing that. We have those in the winter and in the fall and in the summer. So they're all season. They have different sessions. So you can find out more information on those online or in our Park and Rec guidebook. We've also done some different animal things with our summer camps, our spring break camp, and also our after school club. So being partnered with a dog club has its benefits from time to time. So we've often brought the therapy dogs in to meet the kids and teach them about dog safety and caring for a pet and things about the summer that you should know about animals so they can be good pet owners someday too. in addition to spring break service camp and also day camp, we have a service week where the kids go out into the community and we teach them a little bit about volunteerism and what that means. And it can be fun and you can do stuff, but you can also have a good time doing it, right? And so we take them to the Coles County Animal Shelter, which is really fun, and they pet the cats. You know, you have 4 of them go in each room with the cats. There's the teenagers and then there's the adults. They don't get to touch the kittens, which they're all thoroughly disappointed in that, but you can look at them through the window and see them all the same, and they're like, oh, I want to take one home. And so I always apologize to the parents that day. I'm like, really sorry for all that. Can I have a mommy? Can I have a kitty?
That's right.
that they're gonna get. But that's good for, you know, the cats is good for the kids. That the cats get kind of used to being around kids and they get that attention and that love, because Coles County Animal Shelter, sometimes it takes a lot of energy to give cats that are in the shelter all the attention that they need. But it's a small service that a kid can do. So, and then also this summer for day camp, we took our children to the Paradise Horse Equestrian Therapy Center here in Charleston, which was really eye-opening for me. I'd never been there before. I'd heard a lot of great things about it, but our day campers, it's so magical, I guess, to watch a horse, such a large animal, have a calming effect over such a tiny human. They would brush the pony's hair, and it was just some of those kids that are kind of anxious and rambunctious. They're just totally calm and chill. And everybody enjoyed riding the horses and grooming them and learning about saddle care and going on a hayride. So all that stuff is all centered around animals for us. So we like animals at the Charleston Parks and Rec.
You've made a huge investment to our four-legged friends.
For sure.
Wonderful stuff that you're doing for the Charleston Park and Rec Department. Your plate is full, but it's very appreciated.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate the both of you being on the Paw Report today to talk about, well, I guess we could say it was the Goat Report today, and sharing all about the goat yoga class at the Charleston Park and Rec Department. So Megan and Linda, thank you for being our special guest today. We look forward to more classes in the future and fun stuff going on at Charleston Park and Rec.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
You are welcome. And thank you for joining us for this episode of the Paw Report. Until next time, I'm your host, Kelly Goodwin.
Dave's Decorating Center is a proud supporter of the Paw Report on WEIU. Dave's Decorating Center features the Mohawk Smart Strand Silk Forever Clean Carpet. Dave's Decorating Center, authorized Mohawk Color Center in Charleston.
The Paw Report on WEIU is supported by Rural King, America's farm and home store, livestock feed, farm equipment, pet supplies, and more. You can find your store and more information regarding Rural King at ruralking.com.
Fetcher's Pet Supply on the north side of the Charleston Square, serving the EIU community since 1991. Fetcher's welcomes all pets on a leash, is open 7 days a week, and offers made in the USA food. Pet supplies for dogs, cats, reptiles, and fish. Fetcher's Pet Supply in Charleston.
Additional support for the Paw Report on WEIU is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you.